Hello, I hope everyone is well, and I hope you enjoyed the story about Jesus feeding 5,000 people with just 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. That was a miracle, wasn't it? And we were talking then about kindness, because Jesus was very kind because he realised that people were hungry, and the little boy was kind because he gave all that he had to Jesus. Now, there was bread in the story, but I thought it might take a long time to make some bread, so why don't we today make some scones instead? So, to make a scone like this, I'll tell you in a minute, when we've made the scone, we can cut it in half and enjoy it with some butter and some jam. And to make one of those, well, several of those, you will need 350 grams of self-raising flour, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 85 grams of butter, 3 tablespoons of caster sugar, 175 mils of milk, that's millilitres, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, a squeeze of lemon juice, and an egg that you've beaten up. Okay. Now the first thing we need to do is to put our flour in the bowl, and I've already weighed out 350 grams of SR flour there. And then, I'm not going to do it now because that would take too long, but you cut your butter into cubes and you put that into the flour as well. You also put your salt and your baking powder into the flour too, and you mix it all around, and then you rub in the butter. Now, by that I mean you squeeze the butter, and it should look, and this is a little bit I saved from earlier, you've got the flour and it should look nice and smooth, a little bit like breadcrumbs when you've rubbed your butter in. So you'll have a big bowl of that, and then when you've done that you need to just heat your milk up for 30 seconds in a microwave, or just heat it for a very short while in a saucepan, and pour that into the middle of your flour where you've got your butter as well. Make a little well right in the middle and pour your milk in. I'm not going to do that now because I haven't added the butter yet, but when you've done that and you've mixed it round, it should look sort of nice and gooey like that. Now what you do when you've got it nice and gooey like that, you take it out. You'll have a lot of it, of course. I've just saved a little bit there for you, and put it onto your pastry board or just a clean surface. You need to put some flour on, doesn't matter if this is plain or self-raising. Just pop your flour on there, and your gooey mixture like that will become nice and smooth like this if you put it onto your surface and knead it a little bit. Okay, now when you've done that you'll have quite a lot more than this. I've saved a little bit to show you. You need to make it quite high, and then put lots of flour on your rolling pin and roll it until it's about 2 centimetres thick there. Can you see that? And then you need to get a cutter like this one. Put lots of flour on the cutter as well. Flour is always very helpful, and then cut right down into the dough. Pull that out very carefully there, and let's see if we can cut another one, and keep cutting until you can't fit any more in, and then you can scrunch that back up very gently, roll it out again with your rolling pin, and keep cutting until there isn't any dough left. And then you put your little scones into a baking tray. Now what I should have said at the beginning is that you heat your oven to 220 degrees Celsius and you put your tin in about 5 minutes before you're actually going to put your scones in. So I've forgotten to do that bit, but you have to imagine that this is really hot and that the oven is hot, and I'm going to put it into the oven there for 10 minutes. Okay, so you need to time it for 10 minutes. Just want to say that again, that was cold, but if your oven is hot, obviously you don't use fingers like me, you use an oven glove. And when it comes out, then it will look like our lovely scone here. This is one of them that I made earlier, and as I say, you can butter it. Put a little bit of butter on now, and you can pop some jam on and share it with your family. And while you're sharing that with your family, see if you can remember the story of the fish and the loaves and how Jesus was very kind and fed a lot of people with that miracle. Bye!